by Monday, June 15th, and the email, you don't even have to write it down, it's pretty easy to remember, is paysontparty@gmail.com. Okay, June 22nd. There are 6 candidates for Payson Town Council: Jesse Berry, Jim Ferris, Bobby Lowry, Ben McDowell, Brooke Myers, and Guy Pfister. The 2 candidates for mayor will join us for the second half of this forum after a 5-minute intersection. Candidates have drawn from a hat to determine their seating order here on the stage. There will be 8 rounds: an opening statement by each candidate and a closing statement by each candidate. In the middle, we'll have 6 rounds of questions. The questions will be rotated so that each candidate will answer a different question than the previous candidate. We'll also rotate the speaking order during each round. After opening statements, candidates will have 90 seconds to answer each question. By the end of the session, each candidate will have answered each question. You may applaud and answer, but please remain silent while a candidate is speaking. If you disrupt, we'll have to ask you to leave, and that wastes time. Our goal is to get you out of here in 2 hours or less. That means we have to move kind of quickly. Each candidate will have 90 seconds for opening and closing statements. The clock starts when a candidate begins speaking. So let's begin with opening statements. Jim.
Good evening, and thank you for your desire to come out and learn where your town council candidates stand on the various issues and their core governing principles. I've lived in Payson for over 11 years, and how could you not love its people and culture? I was involved in the initial formation of Transparent Payson, which sparked my interest to run for the council in 2018, which I won. At that time, my opposition told me that I needed more than a black hat to earn my spurs. Well, I didn't bring my spurs tonight. Needless to say, I was a catalyst for some major and positive changes. And for those efforts, I received a legal notice of claim for $87,400,000. That's right, million. I'm not easily intimidated. All they did was to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with terrible resolve, as Yamamoto said, World War II. It did nothing but make me and my associates, the real giants, more determined than ever to change the status quo. I do believe we have started to steer this town government in a positive direction, and that's why I am running. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ben McDowell. I am a local orthodontist. I moved to Payson in 2013 with my family to set up a practice here. Saw this as a good opportunity, a place that needed an orthodontist, and it was a good place to serve. Plus, it is beautiful here, great weather, and I've loved every minute here. Great people, great friends and associates. My wife is a nurse at Banner Hospital. I have 3 kids that just graduated from high school this last week. And 3 great kids heading off into the world. So I have a long history of contribution to this town ever since I've moved here. I've served on the Parks and Recs Committee for the last 10 years, well, 10 and a half years now. And would like to give a shout out to the amazing Parks and Recs team that we have. They're doing great things. They work really hard, and they do a lot for this town. I've coached various youth sports teams for the last 10 years, more than I can count. This last month, my family was honored as the Horns of Honor Family of the Year for our contributions to the schools and athletic departments and clubs, because everyone at school knew that if they needed something, they could call on us and we'd respond. And that's what I offer to this town. And not only in other aspects, but in town council, I will do and serve in whatever way is needed.
Good evening, and thank you for being here. I'm running for the town council because Payson needs accountable leadership and practical decision-making. I see this forum as a job interview, and I hope to earn your trust and your vote. As a certified project manager, I've led major projects and learned how to ask hard questions. Worked with different perspectives and focused on practical solutions as well as balanced budgets. In Payson, I've attended council meetings and spoken up when proposals didn't make fiscal sense, including the flock cameras and the 99-year Malibu lease. I'm running to bring accountability and careful judgment to every issue before the council. My top priority is fiscal responsibility. Since COVID, our town budget has grown dramatically, and we need more disciplined choices with our taxpayer dollars. That means no new taxes, no unnecessary increases, and a serious look at reducing the 0.88 and the 1% sales tax increases passed under the emergency clause. I'll do the research, listen carefully, make informed decisions that move Payson forward responsibly. And I will never support an emergency clause unless it's a real emergency. Imagine that. I would be honored to earn your vote, and thank you for attending.
Good evening. Thank you guys for being here. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that you all took the time out of your day to come and listen and educate yourselves on what's going on in the community. Not everybody did that in Payson, so thank you for being here. My name is Jesse Berry. My family moved to Payson in 2008. I graduated from Payson High School in 2014, and I went to college down in the valley, ended up coming back in 2022. Since being back, started a group called Keep Payson Clean. If you are unaware of what Keep Payson Clean is, it is a 501c3 nonprofit that was established in January of 2024. We, to date, have helped pick up over 150,000 pounds of trash. We have saved the town of Payson through volunteer dollars close to $200,000, and we have fed over 3,000 people in this community. I love this town. I'm here to mobilize people. I'm not going to get in and change what I'm doing. I am who I am. I hold the values that I hold, and I'm not going to waver because of pressures that come from the outside. I've already been doing what I'm doing, and I've shown you that I'm willing to show up, do the hard work, ask those tough questions as well, and be in this community deeply, just because I love it. I know that our forefathers set up for us a country 250 years ago, thinking about what we would be doing today. And I want to do the same for Payson.
Hello everybody, I'm Bobby Lowry. I've lived here most of my life. I grew up here when I was a child. Went kindergarten through 12th grade, graduated from Payson. Moved away, started Lowry's Window and Door in 2001. Ran my business since then. Moved back to Payson in 2008 with my family. Some of you may know my wife, Faith. She's very involved in the town, same as me. She's, we both work with the Friends of Park and Rec, with the Rodeo Committee, and the Northern Gila County Fair. I just love Payson, and that's why I'm doing this. I want to see good things for the town. I want to see the good things for you people, and that's the only way I know how to do this, is to go ahead and take this step and get out here and do this. So hopefully I can get on here and do a good job for you. Thank you.
Hi Payson, my name is Guy Pfister, and I've called this place my home since 1973. My family came here. We started a restaurant called Swiss Village Inn back in the day, and we were one of the largest employers in the community. We've seen what happens when a council forgets who they serve, and they use the emergency clause to repeal the Proposition 401 and 402, the very measures that protected your rights to vote on big debt. They raised taxes on working families and fixed income seniors. They also tried to ram through $70 million bond using the same emergency trick. a move that would have sunk the town in debt, like giving a credit card to a teenager with no limit. I've spent my life building and running businesses right here in Payson, and was a restaurant owner and chef, commercial service company, refrigeration company, dairy commodity broker, real estate professional. I've met payroll in good times and in bad, and never once raised taxes on my customers to cover up my mistakes. With God's guidance, common sense, conservative values, and your trusted input, we'll restore fiscal responsibility, protect your God-given rights, and honor the Constitution, and keep Payson the safe family town we all love.
Okay. Here we go. 2, 3.
Test 1, 2, 1, 2.
Hello. There we go. All right. None of the candidates have seen any of the questions. Questions were submitted by email, and we divided them into issues, and we came up with 6 issues. They may not be the most important issues to you, but we think they're critical issues. We couldn't cover everything. What we're going to do with the questions is we're going to ask a question in a very different sort of order, so they're not all answering the same question. The reason is because when they all answer the same question, they say, I agree with what he said. And we won't have that because the questions will be rotated. And we're also going to rotate the number that we start with, the person on the stage, so that no one will follow the same speaker every time they give an answer. So it's a kind of a hodgepodge. I did an old-fashioned spreadsheet with floating numbers I think we got it straight. So the first question in round number 1 will go to Brooke. And the question is, which is a greater priority, funding new projects or reducing Payson's significant debt?
Okay, good question. I would say I believe we have to pay down our debt first. Once we are able to do that, that will allow us to do the things that we want to do. Maybe a pool, maybe the event center, among other things. But top priority has got to be to pay down our debt. We have to live fiscally within our means. I live my life that way. I think our town should live that way as well. By putting ourselves into more debt, it's just going to hurt our kids down the road. So we have to be fiscally responsible and pay down our debt. As long as we have checks in the checkbook doesn't mean we can do what we want to do. So pay down the debt, and then we can focus on projects. So.
Thank you, Joe.
Next question goes to Bobby. As a member of the council, how would you go about determining the will of Payson residents?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again?
As a member of the council, how would you go about determining the will of Payson residents?
I would really try very hard to speak with everyone, whether it be email, text, in person, but I want to get as many people in this community to speak up on the issues so we can have the community's word on what we're voting for. I don't know that I want to go with whatever I think, because your vision might be different than mine, and there is a majority in this community. So I want to make sure that the majority of this community has a voice when we're voting on everything. Thank you.
Next question goes to Jim. How do you define affordable housing, and what role, if any, does the town play in creating it?
What affordable housing is something that a person can live in and have a regular, normal job in town. And I don't believe it's the town's responsibility to provide that, to me, that's not in the preview of town or municipal government. But the town can, create incentives and, go out and try to encourage developers to develop that type of housing. And, we just went to an open house a couple weeks ago down at American Gulch, the Green Valley 2 project. And to me, that was a really nice project. And out of the 40 units there, 36 of them were filled by Payson residents. And what that tells me is that there's 36 living units that are now available for other people in the town. So I just, we just need to encourage, that kind of a development. And, we got some housing projects that are in the works that are going to provide some lower cost homes, and let's hope that they're successful. Thank you.
Next question goes to Guy. Are you in favor of a municipal bond to fund capital projects? Why or why not?
I'm not a big favor of borrowing money. I think we need to be fiscally sound, and we need to do it by simply managing the funds we already have. The problem with going after bonds and putting things on credit cards is it'll end up biting you in the long run. And it's nice to think that we could have afforded a $70 million bond, and maybe we could have paid for that, but that would have put us in debt for years and years and years to come. I'm more interested in getting fiscally sound and getting a community that our grandchildren can live here and not get taxed to death.
The next question is for Jesse. How can the council balance growth while maintaining Payson's small town character?
Can you ask that one more time, please?
How can the council balance growth while maintaining Payson's small town character?
I think this is going to touch a little bit on the last question as well, because it's a nuanced answer between the last question to the one that we have right now. This is about growth. This is about whether we want to take on debt to grow to a greater degree. And I think that the important question is to get a gauge of where our community is at. What are the things that we are desiring as a community? What is our actual, this is what we are looking at as a town right now. We should be paying off our debts. We should be getting to a place where we are fiscally at a break-even place before we start taking on a bunch of big projects. When it comes to growing Payson, we have limits. There are landlocks, there are different aspects that will keep Payson from being able to grow and become a huge city. The way that I would keep charm though, while we are growing, because growth is a thing, we do want to be growing, is we bring in our Western heritage. We bring in somebody like Zane Grey, who basically started the cowboy tradition, man, and it was based off of the lifestyle in Rim Country. We start to put things that tourists can come and take pictures with, like big horseshoes, and do it inexpensively. We don't have to spend millions of dollars on these projects. We just need little ones that get people staying here for just a minute longer.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff.
And the final question in round one goes to Ben. List the responsibilities of an elected council member and explain how much time you expect to devote to each of those responsibilities.
Very specific. Okay, the duties of a town council member, show up to meetings, talk to people, and get educated on matters. I think if we're looking at what are the duties of town council member. As far as talking to people, that should be an all the time thing. right? If you're on town council, anybody you meet should be open and have the opportunity to talk to you about what they want to in the town. And proactively, I think I should encourage those discussions. So I'm not going to put a time limit on that. As far as attending meetings, there's 2 a month, and it lasts anywhere from 2 to 5 hours, depending on how awful they get. So there's those, plus the extra trainings and other events to attend to. I don't know, you want an hour, 15 hours on that. And the last part was get educated. That can be unlimited, right? And your job is to figure out, learn as much as you can about events. If you're talking about a budget, spend time diving through the budget. Look through, get very familiar with it, look at the details so that you can make an educated opinion. That's going to be a different amount of time for each of us. But I believe it is a time commitment, and it's not just something you show up and wing. So I would say there is a lot of preparation for each meeting and each event.
Second round, first question to Guy. Which is a greater priority, funding new projects or reducing Payson's significant debt?
I thought I did that one already. You did that one? Oh, okay, no problem. We need to drop the debt. The debt is the number one thing on my agenda. I want to see that a fiscally sound community. I want to get us into a position. We're bickering and fighting over the pool, which I want a pool badly in this town. But we should be able to buy it in a year or two, not fund it over years of debt. So we need to get our house in order before we start making big plans, and that's it. We need to just do what we can to secure, because right now we have so many things that are just out of whack. We have a budget over $106 million. Our operational budget is about $40 million. We need to work on managing that money first before we start going after new projects. So that's it.
Jesse, how do you define affordable housing, and what role, if any, does the town play in creating it?
Is this on? I actually do agree with Mr. Ferris there. I don't really think that it's the town's responsibility to go and provide affordable housing. I think that this is something as a strong community that we show up and we provide. I didn't ask the town to go and pick up 150,000 pounds of trash. I mobilize people. We get people going and we get that going, and then you don't have to pay for it out of your taxpayer dollars. And so I believe creating a strong community that wants to lift each other up through relationships and communication and actually being together and building together is the best way to provide affordable housing in a community and to create better jobs overall. What do I define as affordable housing? Probably looks a little bit different from everybody else. I don't need as much to live, but when I think of affordable housing, I think of a service employee being able to afford an apartment here and not having to pay $1,500 for an apartment. Like, I can say that it's kind of ridiculous that a 2-bedroom apartment can be around $2,000, and it's not like the best apartment out there, you know? So when I think of affordable housing, it is that all of our residents have the ability to sustainably live here, not just like the national average of what that would look like.
I think what you're going to see is that the answers to some of the questions are reflected in other questions. So it's going to sound like they're repeating, but they're actually not. It's a slightly different question. The next one goes to Ben, and the question is, as a member of the council, how would you go about determining the will of Payson residents?
determine the will of Payson residents. One thing that I will do if I'm elected, I'll set up an email that is specifically for myself as a council member that will be open and checked daily, at least every other day, but probably daily. I check emails a lot, and I commit to respond to those, right? So that will be one opportunity. I communicate with a lot of people every day, and I am willing at any time, if you want to talk to me about something, I'm happy to talk about it. Perhaps not always immediately at that second. I may have another preoccupation I have to handle, but I would guarantee that I would get back to you. But as far as determining the will of the people is just communicating with people, getting a temperature, reaching out to different groups. It's not reach out to your same sounding board. When we get in echo chambers, we automatically assume we are right, and that's our only focus. And we collectively have to get out of those, reach out to different groups, Republicans to Democrats, independents, old to young, middle-aged, affluent, less affluent. You know, we cannot get stuck in our own individual groups, and I think that is how you reach out to the will of people, is talking to a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds.
Next question for Bobby. How can the council balance growth while maintaining Payson's small town character?
I think with bringing some new businesses in and helping some of the other small businesses that we have to try to bring in more revenue for the town is going to help the town grow. Like was said, town is landlocked. We're not going to be a Prescott. We're not being a Show Low, a Phoenix, Scottsdale, anything like that. It's going to stay Payson. Main Street is Main Street, and I would love to see the businesses be able to go back to the way it was years ago, because it was absolutely amazing how Main Street used to be. So if there was any kind of a plan that we might put together for them, maybe even bring some businesses that would like to be down there and follow that flow, that's what I would like to see. Thank you.
Brooke, list the responsibilities of an elected council member and explain how much time you expect to devote to each of those responsibilities.
Responsibilities of a council member is to serve you. Bottom line, end stop, period. I will be available. I am retired, do grow lettuce, and we have a farm, but happy to show anybody, come on over. Just servicing the people, listening to you. I talk to a lot of people at the farmer's market, wherever. I'm not afraid to talk. If you see me out there, come up and talk to me. My friends can attest to that fact. And we just need to be more engaged and serve the people. And how many hours does that take? I don't know. I can't put a time on it. One week might be 50 hours. The next week might be 10. But I guarantee you, I'll show up. I'll be prepared. I will be ready to work, and I am going to spend your money like it's my money. And you know, that's how I roll. So thank you.
And Jim, are you in favor of a municipal bond to fund capital projects? Why or why not?
A municipal bond, if it's based on sales tax, and so I'm not in favor of it generally. But again, it would depend. If the town was out of debt and there was an asset that we could create that would generate revenue and just enhance the quality of life to the citizens, I'm not totally against that. But when we're looking at that $70 million bond, that would have broke the town. We've had professional financial people in and municipal government look at this here and said, wow, if we had to pay that $5 million payment this year, we'd be in huge trouble. We'd be bankrupt. And I never put us in that kind of position. And the other thing, the $16 million bond for the Malibu pool, I mean, we didn't even know what the infrastructure was going to cost. We didn't know what the roads were going to be, excavating costs were going to be, parking was going to, we didn't know so many of the huge costs, but yet we were pushing to go forward with something that we had no underlying idea what it was going to cost. Thank you.
Bobby, as a member of the council, how would you go about determining the will of Payson residents?
Yeah, I did answer that one already. That was his first question. 100%. Yep.
Are you in favor of a municipal bond to fund capital projects? Why or why not?
The bond situation, there again, there's different amounts, different bonds, different everything, and I do agree that the $70 million bond was way out there. It's going to be determined upon what it's for, how much it is, and what goes where, and how it's looked at, but it has to be researched to find out if it's actually worth it for the town. And there again, we've got to be in the right place in order to do that fiscally. And I think bonds can be helpful if they're used correctly. Thank you.
Jim, which is a greater priority, funding new projects or reducing Payson's significant debt?
Reducing debt is first priority. Now, whether we have to completely reduce all debt, that would be up for question. But it's, again, if there's an asset that we can create for a reasonable cost that we can reasonably pay for, that generates revenue. We have to be able to generate revenue. I think we have a lot of people, or some people in our town, our economic development, are working really hard to put us in a position where we can create and generate future revenue. But we got debt, this PSPRS debt, the public safety personnel debt that we have. It was, we passed a 0.88 increase in our sales tax rate to pay for that. I think that was back in 2016, or our debt was 16 million at that time. It's in the neighborhood of 20 million today. We have not paid it down, but we're doing things today. Our town manager is structuring things so that we can put more money toward that and get that debt retired, so that we have flexibility to do other things. Thank you.
Brooke, as a member of the council, how would you go about determining the will of Payson residents?
Determining the will of the Payson residents. I'll continue doing what I do. I talk to people. I cannot tell you how many people have come up to me at the farmer's market just the past couple of weeks. We've had great conversations. I have a lot of ideas that have been generated from just the farmer's market. But I make myself available. As I said, come to the farm. Check out my chickens and ducks. We'll talk about the town. I grow some great lettuce as well, and we can have a salad. But I will talk to everybody that has an idea. No idea is too dumb, and it's just how it is. I mean, that's how we do things. We talk and get along and figure out a way forward. So, that's my answer.
Ben, how can the council balance growth and maintain Payson's small town character?
Yeah, and I think we need to encourage responsible and smart growth, right? We need to encourage and attract businesses to come here that can provide good paying jobs to support middle class people. And as a town, our job is to not discourage that, not to put too many roadblocks in their way so that they turn their backs and say, no, I'm out of Payson, right? So I think encouraging jobs is fantastic. Payson has aged from the year 2000. Average age was 46.7. It is currently 60.9. That's a 17 year increase in 25 years. For those who say, I want to keep Payson the way it was, it's changing, right? And if we don't look at options to keep young people here, we're going to get older and older and older, and there's only so long you can sustain that. The way you maintain a small town feel is people caring for people. As long as that's a case, that small town feel is not going to change. People going outside of their circles to meet other people, to love other people, to care for other people. That's how you get a small town feel. For supporting the local youth teams, events, clubs, plays, that's how you get a small town feel. For not just moving into your own bubble, your internet, angry groups. That's how we avoid that.
And Jesse, list the responsibilities of an elected council member and explain how much time you expect to devote to each of those responsibilities.
To serve the people. I know you've heard that a few times tonight, but I mean, that is literally why we're here. And if you're not here to serve everybody in this room, this entire community, and hear their voices, then why are you up here? This is why we're all here. I truly believe we all really love Payson and want to see it do the best. Just to go a little bit deeper and intimate into what those responsibilities are, I think Brooke said it well, is we are here to be talking to people. At our Keep Payson Clean events, we have hundreds of people get together from all sides of the court, and everybody has the ability to talk, eat, hear each other's opinions, be able to share in a space where we see that we all really do have similar ends. And so serving the people is creating an opportunity for your voice to be heard. I would say that we need a better ability to take public opinion and have it be very transparent on a website that we can all easily go to, not on social media, not based on biases from people, but here's the facts, here's what's happened, and this is how we educate you. Education, communication, being in a position where we go out and know what our public wants, and then we put it into action. That's a huge one. We need to act for our community at this point.
That was the secondary, but I gave you that. Yeah, right. Well, I have one second. Go ahead.
Jim, list the responsibilities of an elected council member and explain how much time you expect to devote to each of those responsibilities.
A lot of time. I feel my position on the town council, I have a fiduciary responsibility to all the citizens out there. And when things come onto the agenda, I want to know everything I can about that. I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of research about things even before I was on the council. But, I want, all the facts and figures. And if they're not there, I'll ask for them. And if I can't get them, then there's something wrong. But, you need to be there. You need to show up. I think I've demonstrated that, I'll ask the questions. And if you're going to ask questions, you're going to ask good questions, you have to have some knowledge to be able to formulate a good question. And I remember sometimes when I was in school, if I was in a subject I was a little bit drowning in, and you got to ask questions. I go, I don't know enough to formulate a good question. So I just, you just have to do your research, and you have to be a little bit cynical sometimes, and you don't just trust people. You know, you just don't, well, the staff said we should do this. Well, why? And do I agree with the staff? I don't have to. So you got to research. Thank you.
Ben, how do you define affordable housing, and what role, if any, does the town play in creating it?
Affordable housing will vary a little bit depending on your age and your situation. But when we're looking at affordable housing, it's an opportunity for people to get in on the early stages of their life and financial career, right? Apartments are a perfect example. Tract homes. For some reason, we've decided that those are awful and everybody needs a custom home. Tract homes are great. The first home I bought with my wife was an 1,100 square foot home that had a very small backyard. The next home we bought when we sold that one and moved to Colorado was again another tract home in an affordable housing unit. And the opportunity to progressively move up those has allowed me to put myself in a good financial situation. To constantly be stuck renting is not a great situation for a person. So what should the town be doing it? Encouraging builders to come here, not discouraging it. We have to get out of the NIMBY mentality of the not in my backyard, yeah, somewhere else, but not in my place. Affordable housing is a good thing because that brings young people, allows young people to stay in the town. It allows a workforce. It doesn't, it prevents us from getting older and older and older as a town to the point where it's no longer going to be sustainable. So I think that has to be a real strong focus of the town to encourage it and not discourage it.
Brooke, are you in favor of a municipal bond to fund capital projects? Why or why not?
No, absolutely not. I think I've addressed that a little earlier, but, well, I guess it depends. It's going to depend on the project. As a former project manager, if it makes sense, then we have to do it. I know, didn't they use a bond to do Green Valley Park? That would be a good use. I couldn't say no to that. To build a Taj Mahal, I would have to say no. So it just depends. I'm against borrowing. We have to be able to afford what we're going to borrow. And if we can't pay it back, then it just doesn't make sense to do it. But, you know, and then there'll be a lot of factors in that. What kind of a bond are we looking at? Is it going to raise our property taxes? I think this past election, the bond was soundly defeated, and it tells me that y'all don't want to raise taxes and look at a bond. So that would be a last resort. I say we pay down our debt. Let's pay cash for something. Let's do something with our taxes. I know you all are paying extremely high taxes. Let's figure out how to adjust that and carry on and do something and that we can all be proud of. So I would say no on a bond, but it depends.
Jesse, which is a greater priority, funding new projects or reducing Payson's debt?
It's a good question. I think that is detrimental when we do all yeses and all nos. I think that there is a way to be responsible and reduce debt while also bringing in outside influence that could help to build our community so that we can still build projects and reduce our debt to a greater degree. If we go down and create relationships, maybe we have to go outside of Payson. Create relationships and bring investors into our community. We don't need taxpayer dollars to build all of the things that we want. We have to show people how awesome Payson is, build relationships with those people, bring builders here, bring investors here who will help support the things that we would like to bring into our community. Maybe a covered event center, building out a downtown. Once we start to capture tourist dollars and have more of that bed tax coming in, and we are now taking the burden off of our residents, This is how we can do both at the same time without having it to be an all or nothing. We can bring down debt responsibly, we can create relationships outside of our community, and we can have our cake and eat it too. But we have to be smart, we have to be kind, we have to create relationships, we have to be willing to listen, we have to show up and serve first and foremost with our entire heart, mind, body, and soul. And that's how we create community.
Charlie. Hey, don't forget this guy.
Some of us had four and guys had two.
Missing a question or two.
Which question would you like to answer, Guy? As a member of the council, how would you go about determining the Willow Payson residents?
The way I'd go about it, first off, you have to look at the demographic of where we live. You have to be honest with ourselves of what we are. We're not a young community. We're an older community, and we have to address that and understand. I mean, if you're going to start trying to get bonds for the little kiddies that don't live here, while the rest of the residents are average age of 60 or more, 65. I don't think that's spending our money correctly. I think we should be focused on the people that live here. That's who's paying our taxes. So we need to. I have nothing against kids, and I want to help and do everything I can to get a pool and do that kind of thing here in Payson. But I also want to realize that there's a lot of people in this town that aren't being represented, and unfortunately, they can't come out. They're not here tonight because they don't have transportation or they can't get out here. So we have to realize who we're dealing with in this community and cater to them. That's really important, and I think if we can do that, you know, will also benefit everybody. I mean, the main thing is just doing the right thing for everybody and not just a small portion. Is my time up? Did I go dead right?
Shirley, you and me both. My great system of numbers, 1 through 6 and 1 through 6, I've crossed up a couple times. So Bobby, I think you're next. Does that sound right? Okay. Have you addressed the question of the municipal bond to fund capital projects? Why or why not? Good. How do you define affordable housing? How about that one? How do you define affordable housing, and what role, if any, does the council and the town play in creating?
I don't think I did that one. I'll do that one. The affordable housing, and once again, different for everybody. Everybody has different incomes. To make something like that happen, I do believe that we have general contractors in this town that we can utilize that would be willing to help do something along those lines, whether it be apartments, townhomes, tract homes, something. I know several of them, and I have no issues speaking with them to see who might want to get involved to help the community. A lot of good guys out there that they don't attend the meetings, and I'm guilty of the same. I hadn't gone to meetings in a long time, and I started going, and my eyes got opened up. So I really feel like if I reach out to some of them and they start seeing what's going on, we can bring some of them in and spend the money locally and keep it here. Thank you.
That's my sheet. How's it look? Looks a little messed up, doesn't it?
Bingo.
It is, yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah. Anybody call bingo? I'm going to change the format just a little bit.
However you want. I think Guy has one more to get to 4 like the rest of us.
Guy has one more answer.
To get to 4.
What's the question? What are the responsibilities of elected council member, and explain how much time you expect to devote to each of those, or
when it comes to that kind of thing, I'm kind of a freak because I want to know the answers. So I stay up late at night, study all the issues. It could take me till 3 in the morning. It could take me, 5 minutes. It depends on the subject and the situation each week. But the team that I'm running with are very studious, and they like to get all the facts and the figures, and I'm right there with them. I want to do the same thing. So there is no way to identify how much time you spend. You just do it until you get done, and that's what I would do.
Okay, everybody has heard, maybe not from everyone on these, but the general gist of the questions you've heard, what the issues are regarding finance, affordable housing, that sort of thing. Bobby, I'm going to start with you. We'll go a little bit different here. What do you see as the top couple of critical issues for the town of Payson?
I would have to start with infrastructure. The roads, a lot of that stuff needs to be looked at and dealt with. I know there's a lot of them in this town, but we've got to start somewhere and not neglect them because they're just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. So that would be probably the top. The other one, of course, is the tax. I have friends in Show Low. They tell me that the city of Show Low, they do not charge property tax. They've got their county and state, but they do not charge their people property tax. And I would love to get Payson into that position. That would be absolutely wonderful. And those are the two. Thank you.
I'll ask the same question to everybody on a hopscotch. Brooke, your turn. Top couple of issues that you see for the town of Payson.
Top couple of issues. Too high taxes. I want to work on lowering those. Property tax, we only collect $700,000 as total for everybody. So for the town, that's small. I mean, if we could eliminate that, that would be great. I think we need more events. I was told from a friend of mine that the previous town manager said the town of Payson is not in the event business. I beg to differ, especially now with everything that we're spinning up. And as Jesse said, we get more events up here. We fill these hotels every week. That's going to take the burden off of us. So by paying down the debt and collecting those revenues, that's a huge priority. Other issues, traffic on the weekends. I don't know how to solve that. I know we're not going to do a roundabout or bypass, and so we're going to have to deal with that. But maybe there are some things we can look at for that. But but also affordable housing. You said it earlier. I know there are a lot of people that my definition of affordable housing and yours are different, but we do need to look at things that make it more affordable to bring people up here. So that's what I think the top issues are.
Jim, same question.
Yeah, one of the big issues I had in the past was our processes and procedures that we're using. And, they went into even our community service. We just didn't have the personnel and the process to get people permitted in their development projects. And so much has already been changed. We didn't have any civil engineers at one time. Everything went down to the valley or someplace else, and it was costing us a lot of money. It cost us a lot of time. It cost the developers a lot of money because, in business, time is money. And there was a lot of frustration, and we had a lot of developers in the state that just, as someone else mentioned, we don't want to go to Payson anymore because of the difficulties they had getting permitting, and if there was changes, things changed. Or the town would come up, okay, yeah, your plans are good, and then later, oh no, you got to do this now. And a lot of that there, we really complained about in the past, but there's been, I think, a huge wave of improvements. that have taken over that department. We got the personnel, the town personnel. I don't want to criticize them. There's a lot of skills and things, but I think this is going to be a big step to get this all down to where permitting is done right.
Same question, top issues.
Respectfully, I'm going to answer a different one of the questions because I think some of those others are really important. So, regarding whether we fund projects or pay down debt, it does not have to be one or the other. It can be both. And I hope you guys can look at your personal lives and recognize that's been part of your lives as well. I went into a lot of debt for education. I could have come out and said, I will go work for somebody until I pay off my debt and go be an employee and have limited options until I pay my debt off, and then maybe I can start a business. Or I can invest in myself in something that is going to provide a better return of income, return on investment, and use that while paying down debt, as long as you have a plan to pay down the debt and you are actively engaged in it. It does not have to be one or the other. If we can do projects that will provide a positive return on investment, that will attract tourism dollars to stay in this town, that lets us accelerate the income we take, the revenue we take in to pay down debt faster, as well as cut taxes, because we're finding ways to pay for things instead of just taking money from you for your property taxes and your sales taxes. You lower taxes by increasing revenue, so it doesn't have to be one or the other. An event center, covering the event center, is an investment. Okay, it's not a liability; it's an asset, and that can help us host events, which brings people here. Sales tax, property, people are eating out at restaurants, bed tax, etc. So it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Jesse?
I'll answer your question. Sorry.
Hello, I'll answer your question. I believe that so I have spent actually a lot of time in top priorities. I'm going to take my answer a little different direction though. I believe these guys did hit some of the infrastructure and things like that in our community that are also really important to me, but I'm not here to beat a dead horse. So one of the things that I have seen that really needs to change is we all need to start working together again, and we need to be able to meet at the mines. We need to be able to sit down and understand each other and have good relationships. I don't care if you agree with everything. You should still be able to listen. You should still be able to love people. You don't have to like them, but we're here together and we're building together. And so, you know why things don't happen? Action doesn't happen when people are fighting. Egos get in the way, and then the egos start making the decisions. Our council then shuts things down, and our projects get shut down, and it's really more about people fighting with each other than it's the actual project not being like a terrible thing. There's some things that I definitely, I agree. The $70 million bond, way out there. There are things that I like smaller government. I want to have more money in my pocket so that I can build in this community, I can raise my family in this community, and have the highest quality of life. Let's get talking together again.
Right?
We got bigger problems than any one particular project or bringing people here. The town is broken. I'm gonna just say it out loud, but the town is broken in our community development. I've had many commercial companies come in that won't come to Payson, period, because they can't get the permits, they can't go through the process, and they go down the road. And it's really where this all begins. We have to get the community development, which by the way, I think should be called the building department, because we didn't ask them to be our community developer. They need to be able to get process the permits out. They need to be more efficient, and we're doing some amazing things already. Darren Caldwell has brought 3 engineers up here. We're getting things done finally. It's a slow process. Government doesn't go quick, but I'm really excited with the fact that we're heading in a good trend line right now. So once we get that, I think people will realize that they have an opportunity in Payson, and we'll start seeing contractors coming up here, building for us and doing things but we've got a really bad reputation at this point in time.
Closing statements, according to my little spreadsheet here. Bobby started.
Sorry.
Yeah. You're up, Brooke. Your closing statement.
Closing? No. The same question, did you answer?
He did answer his priorities. He wasn't here either.
Were we gonna have the sixth question?
The questions have all been asked, answered. I can,
Not by the candidates.
I can tell you which one.
Which question didn't you answer? We'll go down the line. Which one? Which question did you answer?
Okay. The one question that I have not received was determining the will of Payson residents.
Okay.
And, you know, I think what we've done, I'm mentioning Steve Otto, Mayor Steve Otto, and Charlie Bell, and our group will have community outreach meetings where we ask the public to come in and they can ask us questions. And we invite everybody to come in. And, you know,
What's your
Yeah,
unasked
my
question?
final question is, should we do a municipal bond for major projects, to fund major projects? And my answer to that is yes, if it meets certain criteria. If, number one, we have a solid plan to pay down that debt and we have the revenue to pay down that debt. Number two, is it going to be something that provides a positive return on investment and will increase revenue for this town, as well as we also have to factor in what is the social return on investment. It doesn't have to be just financial, but what is the benefit? If you look, if we are so short-sighted that we can say, no, I won't do anything that requires a bond, you don't have Green Valley Park, all right? And we can all look at that and say, this is one of the best parts of town. There are times where we need to make investments, but you don't invest in things that are bad debts, or you don't invest in depreciating assets if you want to be financially stable. Personally, I am very fiscally conservative. I don't like to spend a lot of money unless I know it's going to do a lot of good for me and provide increased opportunities down the road. The town has done a good job of setting up a reserve. From what I understand, we have somewhere between a $10 and $12 million reserve. That is a good thing. This is a step in the right direction towards putting us financially stable to afford capital improvements that will pay us back.
Can you read the one about the small town feel? I think I didn't answer that one.
How can the council balance growth while maintaining Payson's small town character?
First of all, to keep our small town character, I think we will do that. We're going to dictate what happens here. We can't grow too big, and we're kind of landlocked as well, like everyone said. So keeping the growth at I guess it's 1% or less than 1% since 2000. So we're doing that on our own. Keeping the small town feel, I would love to rebuild, wave my wand and have Main Street done. I would love to do a lot of things, but it's going to be tough. We've tried and tried and tried to get Main Street going. I think we're in the right direction. The RFP that's out for the property that the town has might be a great start. If you, I lived in Chandler for most of my life. If any of you have been to Chandler downtown, they started with one, and it's been a domino effect. Same with Gilbert. And I think once we get one built, I think the domino is going to fall. And, you know, no one's going to want to see the blight that's there now. People will come in, it's going to be worth it to buy that next building, refurbish it. And I think that's how we do it. And as the council, or as the development goes, we can dictate how things are done.
What's your unanswered question?
Mine is also the municipal bond, which is messed up because this dude's so smart. Like that answer, he's just, you can't help but kind of follow in line with that. I would say that's one of the things that I really, really agree with there. But I would say something very similar. Yes, if it is something that we can leverage to be the best for our town, our future, making sure that our kids aren't going to be burdened with taxes into the future. I don't want to go out and spend a bunch of money that we don't have. That's why I really want to get community together, building together, investing into our town, into our main street, into our parks, into our event center, so that we can capture tourist dollars. We want to get the bed tax. We want to keep people here a little bit longer. So if we're going to do a bond, then we got to look at what it's for. Is this going to keep people here? Is it going to have them spend the night? Is it going to have them spend more in our town so that their tax dollars are going into creating a better infrastructure for our roads and our different facilities? Then possibly. We would have to look into that. It's a nuanced answer. But I would say first and foremost, we should want to pay cash for things. We should want to invest in our community. And yeah, so I would say yes, but I would like to consider other options like outside investors first.
What question did you get?
I lost track and we skipped Guy.
Affordable housing, did you do that one?
Did that one. I did that one.
Did that one. How about the responsibilities of an elected council member and how much time?
Did not do that one.
Did not do that one. Okay, good.
So there again too, I wanted to answer that one actually, so I'm glad we caught that. I've worked in this town with a lot of people, and I've tried really hard to keep politics away from business. But now that I'm here where I am, I would not mind if I was at your neighbor's home and you came over and wanted to talk about things. I wouldn't mind if I'm in your home fixing something and you want to talk about it. If you stop in the office and I'm there, I'm going to talk to you about it. You catch me at Circle K. You know, I'm going to do whatever it takes for the people of Payson to find out what we want, what we need, and get it done. So if you see me anywhere, talk to me. Thank you. Oh, and tell your friends and family. You know, the more people we get out to vote, the better this whole thing's going to be. Amen. We don't have enough people voting. So please start.
Can you remember one that you weren't asked since I skipped over you?
What kind of question do I have?
Funding new projects, you did that one. Versus debt, right? Funding new projects or reducing debt.
Yeah.
Did that. Responsibilities of elected council member.
Yeah.
Did that.
Yeah.
Define affordable housing. You do
I
that?
haven't done that yet.
Okay, define
Yeah.
affordable housing.
Okay.
What role, if any, does the town play in creating it?
You know, the affordable housing is a really tricky situation, and because I'm a realtor and I'm in that field and on the board of the realtors, I dig in a little deeper than most and know that this is a national problem. This isn't local. This isn't just Payson that we have unaffordable housing. It's nationwide. And it's because the cost of materials are so high that, you know, at some point it gets to the point where we can't afford to build. You know, so that's what's going on. And I don't like the idea of government taking over and building for us, because then all of a sudden, all the contractors that want to compete and build a product are competing against the government. And that's not a good situation. That's called socialism. So we don't want to do that. I think it's important, and keep in mind, I mean, we mentioned that there's 36 of those 40 units were taken up by Payson residents. That means that 36 spots in Payson are available now. Plus, there's a lot of houses on the market right now. So we're chasing our shadow, trying to fix it. And I think it's a bad plan. Something, you know, government overreacts with everything they do. So when they say, oh, we got to go for affordable housing, a lot of times it ends up, they overdo it, and then next thing you know, your property values are going down.
All right. Now we're at closing statements. And my little chart here does have a reverse order, so it's a little unusual, okay? So Brooke, you're gonna go first.
Okay, I'm asking for your vote because I believe Payson deserves thoughtful, independent leadership that puts our community first. My background as a certified project manager has taught me how to study the facts, ask the right questions, and make responsible decisions based on facts that affect people's lives and our tax dollars. In Payson, I've already proven I'm willing to step forward. I attend council meetings, speak up when something doesn't make sense. I'm not running to rubber stamp decisions. I'm running to bring common sense, accountability, and fiscal discipline to town hall. I'll listen, I'll do the research, and I will make decisions based on what's best for Payson and all of our families, not pressure, politics, or convenience. If you want a council member who will be prepared, principled, and focused on protecting this town's future, I'm your man. I appreciate your support and your vote. Remember, I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing this for all of us. And while I still have 30 seconds, I want to say it should be illegal how much fun we've had up here. These guys, I don't know what else to say. I appreciate you guys. I would go to war with any of you. And so that's my story. I'm going to stick to it.
Closing remarks. I'm also asking you to vote for me, because I will work for you. I'll work very hard for you. I feel like I can bring a very open and analytical mind to the town council. I love talking to people who disagree with me on ideas because that challenges my ideas. It helps me to think through, find out deficiencies in my ideas, and find out a lot of times somebody else has a better idea. I won't just go talk to the people who are supporting me, right? And that is, I think, going to be one of the strengths I can bring to a town council. I am a problem solver. I love solving problems. That's what I do for work. I like to take a complex solution and figure out a good way to line things up and make it work well. And I'll bring that to the town as well. I have served in council positions for nearly a decade. I understand how to work with people, how to listen to people. One of the best ways to collaborate, how to value the opinions of people who are behind the scenes, because a lot of times they see things that those in leadership positions do not. And that's how you get good information. I feel like I can help this town make the smart progress it needs. Not to take huge swings that are going to cause us to strike out. How to take singles when they're available. Take a double if it's available. Take good chances. And I feel like the government should support people, not rule people.
In closing, I'm asking for your vote, but to keep this ship moving in the right direction, which I think the town is, I need the support of like-minded councilmen. And that's why I've been running as a team with Mayor Steve Otto, Payson Guy Pfister, and Farmer Brooke Myers. A big value that I believe I can bring to the table, maybe a clear vision of what can be, but just as importantly, knowing when to stop a proposal that is ill-conceived, illogical, financially irresponsible, and lacks common sense. In the past, only outside efforts have stopped these projects, and they needed to be. I do not know what criteria that you're going to use in selecting council members. I hope that you understand that your selection is based on the fact that a council member should have a depth of knowledge, experience, independence, and skills to manage a town. It is a large corporate entity serving you. The decisions the council makes affects the town for years to come. And yeah, I brought a few of my old resumes from 2016 was on the table out there. I got, you know, a lot of times, and I think all of you can do, look at what your past experiences have been, and I think you'd be, you know, a little bit more impressed with what you're able to do.
We're all here seeking your vote. That's pretty obvious. That's why we're all in this room together right now. I'm not asking for your vote at this point. I'm asking for your heart and for your mind. I want you to have an open mind and a servant's heart, because that's what I'm going to be leading this community with. I have a servant heart. I'm a business owner. I'm somebody who goes out and takes action in the community. I'm not here to give you lip service. I'm here to provide community service. I'm here to serve you. I have shown this in my actions. I have a deep connection with Payson. Being here for many years, watching all me and my 6 siblings graduate from Payson High School. The last one just graduated, along with Ben's kids, and along with Brett's kids, and along with Bobby's kids. We are deeply rooted in this community. We have investment and we care. This isn't somewhere that we came to and now are trying to make decisions in. This is somewhere that we have been, established our roots, and are now trying to plant trees that our kids are going to be, our great-great-grandkids are going to be able to sit under the shade of. I know some people have commented on that statement, but guess what? Your forefathers, 250 years ago this year, planted trees that your grandkids are going to be sitting under the shade of for the first time ever. Oak trees take a long time to grow.
The roots need to establish.
Thank you guys all for being here. It shows that Payson is waking up, and it's the first time in a long time that I've seen that. It's very impressive and very heartwarming for me. Let me close with this straight from the heart. We don't need more slick talk or big government experiments. We need stewards who fear God, respect the taxpayer, and deliver results. No more emergency clauses, no more tax hikes, no more reckless $70 million bonds. Those missteps didn't just waste time, they eroded our trust. I've balanced budgets, hired good people, and answered the bottom line every single day. That's the same discipline I'll bring to the council dais, watching for every dime of your money as if it was my own. Joined with Otto, Ferris, Myers, we fight for conservative principles, lower taxes where possible, full transparency, strong public safety, and policies that will let our kids and grandkids afford to raise their families here in God's country. Let's make Payson proud again, fiscally rock solid and constitutionally sound and unapologetically God-fearing. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the great town of Payson, Arizona.
I guess I can just leave with this final word. Again, thank everybody for coming. Really appreciate it, and get anybody and everybody you can in the town limits to vote. It is very important. I want to try to get as many locals, and meaning locals, they're people within Rim Country that are capable of doing things for this town. And I want to keep it local as possible within reason of quotes. You know, I understand that sometimes quotes get higher and we have to do outreach to make it affordable. But I don't feel like a lot of the people in this town have been talked to or asked to provide a quote for jobs that are going on in this town. And I think that it's very important, because then they feel more of the community, which in turn, they're gonna be here with us to vote and be part of the community, instead of them just building something here and there, and that's all they do. They're not part of this town. So we all need to come together, and we all need to make this town Payson. And if there's 16,000 of us in this community, we all need to be involved. So thank you guys very much.
It would be hard to sit in this room and not think that Payson has a bright future. These gentlemen have stepped up. They volunteered their services to serve on the town council, and I think they've made a wonderful presentation tonight. Let's give them a really warm round of applause.
Excellent. Well, first off, thank you all for coming. It's great to see a full room. A lot of wonderful citizens that I've seen on many occasions in many different places, and so it's good to be here together. My name is Brett Flaherty. I am a resident of Payson since 2011. My wife and 4 kids over the last 15 years have been through the school district, and we just graduated our 2 oldest, not twins, but they were in the same grade, so we graduated 2 seniors this year, and they're going to be off on their new adventures, and then we jumped down to a 12 and 8-year-old, and so we still got a lot of time here in Payson, and committed to raising our kids here. I have also a dentist. I moved here before Benjamin. Anyways, I am a general dentist. My office is Centerpoint Dental. And what I have experienced over the last 15 years is what, a lot of business individuals, owners experience here. I jumped through a lot of hoops to establish and build a practice, went through all the permitting processes and faced those different challenges. But anyways, it's been great. Payson's been good. We have a wonderful practice that has allowed me to do many things for our community. We are constantly involved in, so many different aspects of this town, whether it's through the schools or serving our veterans. And just look forward for an opportunity to continue to serve as I'm on the council.
Good evening. Thank you for coming out. I really appreciate your attendance. I am Mayor Steve Otto. Campaign season always brings out a multitude of signs and slogans. My opponent's team has a slogan on their palm cards that I find interesting. Planting trees under whose shade we may never sit. It is fitting they chose that phrase because it is accurate for reasons they may not understand. May 7th, 2021, there was a story in the Payson Roundup about Payson Lion Club and the Friends of Rumsey Park donating 2 trees to spruce up the park. Representatives of the Lions Club, former Mayor Tom Morrissey, and myself were in attendance at the dedication of those trees. Barely 5 years later, we will never sit in the shade of those trees because due to lack of infrastructure or the absence of nurturing, those trees have died. Like so many projects, the noble ideas fade away. For instance, the university project, the hockey academy, and numerous plans for Main Street, all looking dead for lack of infrastructure and nurturing. I have the experience to evaluate the resources available for a project, land, water, infrastructure, finances, and to set goals to bring a project to completion. I have the time available to research resolutions. I am determined to be transparent and forthright with the citizens of Payson, and I will respect that the qualified elector is the ultimate legislator, as in the
Okay, Brett, first question. Who is your best advisor on town issues?
My best advisor on town issues, I would say, are the people. I believe that when I, am looking at whatever it is that comes across the board of our council, that the most important advisor that I have is our town. I try to listen to the constituents, or my residents, and their feedback on what is the will of the people. We also have many great town department heads that provide us with a lot of the details and information to help us make these, the decisions that we do make, and both on certain, all of the issues of the town. But ultimately, I try to engage with residents day in and day out and receive their feedback on what it is that's their will. And so when I look at who is my number one advisor, I try to look to the people. I'm grateful for the town department heads that we do have. I think it's we have some very qualified individuals from our being concerned about our infrastructure, our roads, those street departments, our water department. We have a lot of great individuals to guide us as well.
Steve, explain the town's current financial situation and next steps to improve it.
Okay, simply stated, we're $85 million in debt. We have, rough numbers, $20 million in public safety personnel retirement system debt. We have another $20 million in other post-employment benefits for our employees that are going to be retiring soon. Then we have $30-odd million in WIFA debt, which is the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority, that pays for the Cragen project. And for those who have been living under a rock, the Cragen project is the crown jewel of Arizona water. It is the reason that Payson's water is the envy of the state of Arizona. So some of the debt is a serious challenge for us to deal with. The water infrastructure is the debt that is paying the freight that's going to allow us to go forward as a community. We have to get the retirement debt down. We have a $5 million retirement payment due this year, which is 1/4 of our entire sales tax revenue for the year. And that $5 million debt has to be paid. We don't have an option. So the debt has to be under control. You can't build on a mountain of debt.
Brett, during your time as an elected official in Payson, what's the one thing you wish you could do over?
Great question. So we've heard it brought up a few times, the $70 million bond. And for those of you out there, I was one of the council members on that and involved in it, but I can promise you it was not Brett Flaherty's idea. We formed a citizens committee group, and in which they spent a significant amount of time coming up with ideas and solutions of how we could address 20 years of problems, deferred maintenance and just deterioration of our infrastructure. And so when that was presented to us, and I'd like to also make note, I believe in hearing from everybody. People were shocked when I nominated the people that I did for that committee. It was Charlie Bell and Lance Marble, because I wanted different views and opinions on that board. But long story short, with that came a funding source for the bond. It was going to be a separate thing, and that was the 1%. If I could do anything different again, I would have put a sunset on the 1% if the bond did not move forward.
Steve, what are the duties of the mayor and how much time do you devote to each responsibility?
Payson operates under a weak mayor, strong town manager form of government. So that means I am largely ceremonial. I run the meetings, I have the gavel, I can put issues on the agenda by myself. It takes 2 council members to put issues on for themselves. As far as the voting, I have 1 vote out of 7, and my main asset is the microphone. I go on the Payson or the KMOG forum twice a month. I attend every meeting that I can attend, and my calendar is a rival to when I was in business. I have many obligations, and I take them seriously, whether they're coming from a 9-year-old boy who's asking for a tire swing to be put up in Rumsey Park because one had been taken down, or it's from a church that's waited 3 years for a building permit. They all get similar weight. They're all impressive issues that have to be resolved, and I jump in with both feet and do whatever it takes to publicize the problem and come up with a solution to the problem.
Brad, do you see a conflict between quality of life for residents and efforts to attract more tourists? One more time. Do you see a conflict between quality of life for residents and efforts to attract more tourists?
Definitely, there is a little bit of a conflict there, because as residents, I would love to keep this the quietest, quaintest little town, but in my opinion, that's going to put more of a burden on the residents to fund our roads, our infrastructure, our maintenance, our parks, and everything. And so as you try to attract tourism and create an economy that can take the burden off of our residents, you also make our little town a little bit busier. We see our weekends, it's tough to get around in this town. And so, yes, is there conflict? But I do believe that the benefits of, our export is tourism, and right now we don't have any industry in town. And so if we can try to, sell our export of tourism and take that burden, and that way we can generate more revenue, take the burden off of our residents, I believe, it'll help balance that conflict of the busyness and still make this a joyful place for us to live, thrive, and have great services.
Steve, do you favor a contract firm with multiple lawyers or a single town attorney, and why?
Glad you asked that question. After being elected, but before I was sworn in, I helped show the former contract town attorney why he would be happier somewhere else. And he took the advice. As far as the situation Payson finds itself at this moment in time, I'm actually in favor of a contract attorney now, with looking long-term to get our own in-house attorney staff. The challenges we face is space. We don't have room. If we're going to bring in an attorney, we need a paralegal, and we need a secretary. For those 3 people, we need office space, and right now Town Hall is really crowded. So for the short term, I'm in favor of keeping attorneys that keep us from getting sued. I don't like lawsuits. We haven't been sued that I know of since I've been mayor, and I want to keep that record going. The information that Christina Werther has been sharing with us in chambers has been accurate so far, and so I just want to do later.
Brett, the event center. What improvement comes first? How can we fund it? And when can we expect to see results?
I do believe the event center is one of, the most important things that we can focus on right now. If you were to ask, what I believe to be the direction the town needs to go, we need to focus on getting that covered and usable. I have put on events there, and I have gambled with weather. And I know that if we can get that covered, and obviously we need to pull some of the important critical infrastructure items out there as well. We don't have bathrooms. I believe bathrooms and covering that arena will create an opportunity to pack that weekend after weekend. I was just at a big a team rope and jackpot, and you'll go to these roping events, and there will be over thousands of teams participating. And if we can pack that weekend after weekend with events, that will generate more revenue for the town as our bed tax is full and people are hanging out spending their dollars here. As far as funding that, we got some preliminary numbers, and we don't have it in our budget. So I think the opportunity to look for partners and discussing that would be great. Calvin Johnson of the tribe reached out to me, said he would like to have a conversation, and congratulated and thanked me for running.
Steve, do you favor renovating Main Street or developing an alternate location to attract more visitors?
Glad you asked that question. Main Street has some merit, but for me, the most likely place would be finish the southern Green Valley Parkway extension that will it'll get an escape route through from Green Valley Park to 87 at the casino. When that happens, there will be an unmanageable remnant of property that is Forest Service land that will be available, that we can build building an economic development area, and we can start from scratch. The goal is to get the Parkway extension built first, and then go after that. It's like 74, 77 acres. So that's the direction I want to go, because Main Street, somewhere in town, there's a stack of Main Street development plans that's floor to ceiling. None of them have come to fruition, and now it just seems like we need a fresh start. We need a new place to put down the banner and say, this is going to be our cultural center.
Brett, do you favor a contract firm with multiple lawyers or a single town attorney, and why?
I think we have a great system as it stands right now with our contract attorney group. Not only do we have the attorney that is sitting in our council meetings, we have access to a whole group of attorneys that are well rehearsed in municipal government. I think if we found, an in-house, it would be very tricky to make sure they, we're comfortable with all of the different aspects of municipal government. And so I think we are at a huge advantage to have a group that can provide and supply all of that. I believe that as a contract group, they are not sided with one group or another in this town. They remain neutral to just give us the best legal advice possible and let us navigate, this side or that side of it. And so I do believe in this town, it's easy to, get drawn into the different groups. And so I think it's highly beneficial to have the contract group that we have. I think they're doing a great job. And if somebody is not working out for us, they were really good at helping us fill in. Somebody else.
Steve, who is your best advisor on town issues?
My best advisor on town issues is the multiple people who call me on a regular basis and say, do you know, and then I get the whole story. I had people call because they weren't allowed to put a nativity scene in the library. We got that rectified. I mentioned we had our 9-year-old with a tree swing. He's rectified. I went looking to see why we were flooding in Payson North. There were 6 culverts underneath Airport Drive, and they were 2/3 full of dirt. I got the information because somebody called me and said, do you know? I get calls on a regular basis. I answer my phone and I take action on matters that are important to them. If it wasn't important to them, they wouldn't have taken the time to call. If it wasn't important to them, they wouldn't have taken the time to call me. So my most important is the residents of Payson who take the time to make their wishes known and allow me the opportunity to help them.
Brad, explain the town's current financial situation and next steps to improve it.
Well, as it's been discussed, we know that we do have challenges. When we just did our budget, I'll be honest, I was very disappointed that when we looked at what we had available for capital improvements was very, very minimal. I do know that, as it's been stated, we have debt that we have to get under control, and we have taken some steps to try and address that. Unfortunately, when this whole situation, or our PSPRS account, the retirement fund, started, it was given an incomplete solution. The 0.88 was to expire 10 years when this was a 20-year debt. And so it did put our previous council in a tough situation in which we had to unsunset that and help it move forward. So what we have done is recently we brought it up to the council, and we are looking at refinancing it, trying to come up with a solution in which it would be resolved in 10 years. I know if we can take care of that'll help us move forward. I also believe that, and I challenged our department heads, that we need to extract that 1% for what it was approved for.
Steve, do you see a conflict between quality of life for residents and efforts to attract more tourists?
There can be. We need to attract the tourists who are not pass-through tourists. They need to stay multiple days. There needs to be a reason for them to come to Payson, stay 3, 4, 5 days, and not just be a wad of traffic going through town and buying fast food restaurant. We need to have them buy into the Payson experience. That is why we're working on the mountain bike trail, the new Umbuto mountain bike trail at the event center. That's why we worked on a disc golf course by Rumsey. We're pushing things to get tourists to stay longer, because when they stay longer, they're not clogging the roads. They're here, they're enjoying the activities, they're adding to our sales tax revenues, and when they finish, they go home. So we just got to get them here longer.
Brett, what are the duties of the mayor and how much time will you devote to each responsibility?
Great question. It's been said that I am too busy to be mayor. But if anybody, for anybody that knows me, I don't stop. I go around the clock, and I'm a doer. I'm one of being productive, and so I get it. I have a family, I have a business, but all of those things give me opportunity to plug myself into the community and understand, get a pulse on what is going on and what people are wanting and needing in our town. Our duties are obviously to, lead and serve in our community. Our vote is just one vote like the rest of the council, but the main thing that I believe, that sets the mayor apart from the council is to be the leader. You are going to have 7 different individuals, 7 different voices. And if the mayor can unite those 7 individuals to at least have open discussions, there's opportunity to move forward. You could ask Steve how many times we have sat down and had a conversation. It's 0. And so I believe that the duty of a mayor is to be a leader and step up and bring your council together.
Steve, during your time as an elected official in Payson, what's one thing you wish you could do over?
I wish that I'd had the experience and ability to get the vote to put the pool replacement at Taylor Pool. The decision to put it on the Rumsey property was ill-conceived. The bond was an egregious waste of resources. It cost a lot of money to have that bond election, and I wish that I'd been able to get one of the 4 Rumsey proposals voted on, and that would have given us an opportunity to get that thing done without the $16 million bond. So I wish I could do that over again. And I also wish that when we were doing the outreach meetings and asking community members to participate, some members of the community did not want us talking to the residents, and numerous complaints were filed with the Attorney General for open meetings violations, and there are laws against having kumbaya moments with all the council members. We cannot congregate in more than 3 members or we're in violation of the open meetings law. So that's what I regret.
Brett, do you favor renovating Main Street or developing an alternate location to attract more visitors?
No, I think Main Street is in a good location. I just actually had somebody the other day ask me, how did that ever happen when they just drive down the 87 and the 260 and Main Street's not involved? Well, from the history of Payson, we know that it started more out towards Doll Baby, and so it is the iconic Main Street. And I believe there's a lot of history there. It leads to Green Valley Park and our lakes, which is such an iconic place in our town that attracts so many people. So I do believe that Main Street is in the right spot. It's just going to take a lot of time, effort, and and investment to bring it up to par. I think if the emergency evacuation route out Green Valley Parkway ever does come to fruition, which we're going to push hard and make happen, I think it connects our event center to Main Street, to the lake, and all of that becomes just a thriving area in which businesses can be successful, in which our community members can come and gather and join and just carry out that small town atmosphere that we all want.
And Steve, the event center, what improvement comes first? How can we fund it? And when can we expect to see results?
We already had a presentation on what it's going to take to get wet utilities up there at the last council meeting. I requested Tanner Henry to make the proposal. He analyzed where the main part of the utilities end, what it's going to take to get them at a location that's usable. We got about $1 million basically quote on that estimate. It also hinges on Apache Corners, the development that the tribe is talking about. The town of Payson has a contractual obligation to provide them water, and without them indicating how much water they need, we don't have a firm grasp on how big a pumping station we need to put at the top of the hill at 87 and Green Valley Parkway. So we're working on that. The next phase after we get utilities, we're going to work on getting a proposal on a covered event center, roof, no walls, concrete floor with dirt on it. And we're going to do it in an orderly fashion as resources permit.
That's 8 questions. Time for closing remarks. Brett, you're up.
Well, again, thank you all for being here. It means a lot that you'd come and spend these couple hours with us. But I am asking for you to vote for Brett Flaherty for mayor so that we can continue to move our town forward in a positive direction. You know, I've been told that you're going to have to push back a little to push forward. And I think I've proven that I'm not afraid to push so that we can have a brighter future here in Payson. I believe in leadership that encompasses all, and that's from listening to our residents to listening to my fellow councilmen, and I am committed to uniting our council in a way that we can bring the best out of each individual. You heard all of those candidates speak before Mayor and I, and great individuals. I would be happy to work with each and every one of those. I believe that if we come together and brainstorm and bring different ideas and views and directions and thoughts, it will stimulate what we need to move this town forward. And I am committed to listening to each and every one of them. I'm committed to listening to our town so that we can continue to move forward and make Payson a place where all generations can thrive. Retired, working, kids, and repeat that cycle.
Going forward, I am absolutely going to push to make sure that the residents come first. We've endured years of the town calling the shots, the town manager telling the council members that the emergency clause is just an administrative tool. The Arizona revised statutes don't agree with that. We had a town manager that was running amok, and nobody stood up to him. Nobody took the time to say enough is enough. When I got elected, we said enough was enough. That town manager went down the road. He's not here anymore. It was through the negotiations of strong, like-minded people who convinced him that his life in Payson was not going to be fun once we were sworn in. So it's important to keep going forward. We have outstanding staff. Payson is becoming what it used to be with the festival capital of Arizona. I was shown an Arizona Highway magazine from the 70s. Payson was the festival capital. And then we got down to Troy Smith that said we're not in the business of having events. That's wrong. I've supported the ice skating, I've supported events, pups in a park, and it's all good.
Again, we came close to our 2 hour